Chapter 2, The Edge of Reality. Morning light filters through your blinds, casting soft, golden patterns across your room. You slowly open your eyes, blinking against the brightness as you emerge from the depths of sleep. For a moment, everything feels normal: the comforting warmth of your bed, the sound of distant traffic outside, the soft weight of your cat curled up beside you. It's peaceful, familiar, the kind of morning that blurs the edges between dreaming and waking. You lie still, letting the quiet moments wash over you. But then, fragments of yesterday begin to surface, vivid, strange memories that don't quite fit with the calm reality of the morning. Ash, the glowing book, the threshold, and the pull of a world that defied logic. You can almost feel the lingering hum of energy beneath your skin, but it's faint now, like the echo of a distant sound. For a brief, disorienting moment, you question whether any of it was real. Was it all just a dream? A product of your imagination twisting your loneliness into something fantastical? You've had vivid dreams before, dreams that felt so real you could almost touch them. Could yesterday have been another one of those? You sit up slowly, rubbing the sleep from your eyes as you scan your room. Everything looks the same as it always has, no signs of the strange journey you took, no clues that might confirm what happened. The book that glowed with otherworldly light now lies quietly on your bedside table, as ordinary as any other. The apartment is still, your cat stretching beside you with a contented yawn, oblivious to your inner turmoil. But as you reach out to touch the book, your fingers graze the cover, and a faint warmth lingers beneath your fingertips. It's subtle, but enough to make you pause. The memories rush back with more clarity, the feel of the threshold's energy, the way the world seemed to blur around you, and Ash's steady presence, guiding you through it all. Maybe it wasn't a dream after all. Your thoughts race as you try to reconcile the ordinary morning with the extraordinary events of the day before. If it was real, and deep down, you believe it was, then what comes next? The threshold, Ash, the power you began to tap into, it's all still there, waiting. A soft meow pulls you from your thoughts. Your cat is looking at you expectantly, her green eyes bright and curious. She seems content, as if everything is perfectly normal. But you can't shake the feeling that yesterday has changed everything, even if the world around you hasn't caught up yet. You take a deep breath, trying to ground yourself in the present. The day lies ahead, full of possibilities and uncertainties. The threshold may be quiet for now, but you know it's still there, just beyond the edges of this world. You glance at the clock on your bedside table and your heart skips a beat. You've overslept. The calm morning haze shatters as reality snaps back into focus. You're late for your shift at the downtown library. In a flurry of movement, you throw off the covers and jump out of bed, your mind racing as you grab clothes from your closet. The ordinary pressures of everyday life crash down on you, and for a moment, the strange events of yesterday fade into the background, overshadowed by the more immediate concern of getting to work on time. Your cat watches you with mild curiosity as you rush around the room, pulling on jeans and a comfortable shirt. She seems unfazed by your sudden burst of energy, lazily stretching and settling back into her warm spot on the bed. You can't help but smile at her unbothered attitude, if only you could share in that sense of calm right now. Once dressed, you grab your bag and head for the door, but your gaze lingers on the book for just a moment. It sits quietly on your bedside table, its presence a quiet reminder of everything that happened. You consider bringing it with you but decide against it. Today, you need to focus on the routine, the familiar, and the predictable. The cool morning air greets you as you step outside, your mind already shifting into work mode. The library awaits, a place of order and quiet where you can lose yourself in the comfort of books and the rhythm of shelving, sorting, and assisting patrons. It's always been a refuge of sorts, a place where you can escape into stories and knowledge, where the world outside seems just a little more manageable. You make your way through the busy streets, weaving through the morning crowd. The city is alive with its usual hustle and bustle, the noise and energy pulling you further away from the strange events of the day before. By the time you reach the library, the familiar scent of old books and polished wood welcomes you like an old friend. As you slip behind the desk and settle into your routine, the chaos of the morning starts to fade. The library is quiet today, and you take comfort in the steady flow of tasks that require your attention. But even as you focus on your work, a small part of your mind can't help but drift back to yesterday, to the threshold, to Ash, and to the possibilities that lie just beyond the surface of this world. As you check out books for a patron, The faint pull of that otherworldly energy still lingers, like a quiet hum at the back of your thoughts. But for now, the ordinary day at the library grounds you, offering a brief respite from the unknown. As you work behind the desk, the peaceful atmosphere of the library wraps around you. The soft light streaming through the windows highlights the familiar rows of books and the quiet patrons browsing the shelves. Yet, beneath the calm surface, you can't shake the feeling that something extraordinary is waiting, just beyond the ordinary routine. A curious thought begins to creep into your mind. You glance around at the shelves that line the library, rows upon rows of neatly organized books. They've always been a source of comfort for you, a world of stories and knowledge, each one holding its own universe within its pages. But after everything that happened with the threshold and the book in your apartment, you can't help but wonder, could any of these books be more than they seem? You catch yourself glancing at the spines, wondering if there's something hidden beneath the familiar covers, something like the book that led you to the threshold. Could there be other books here, quietly waiting for someone with the right eyes to find them? Books that hold secrets, that serve as portals to other worlds, or that carry the power to change reality? The thought sends a small thrill through you, mingled with a hint of unease. This place, your sanctuary, has always been a refuge of knowledge and order. But now, in the wake of yesterday, you can't help but see it differently. What if some of these books are not just stories or sources of information, but doorways? Could there be others like the one you found, hiding in plain sight among the ordinary? You shake off the thought, reminding yourself that this is the real world. But the idea lingers, sparking your curiosity. Perhaps it's worth exploring further. Maybe, on a quiet day like today, you could take a closer look, see if anything stands out, or if there's any book that seems to hold that same quiet hum of power you felt before. But for now, you continue with your duties, though your eyes keep drifting back to the shelves, a small part of you wondering if there's more to this library than meets the eye. As your shift winds down, you feel a mix of relief and anticipation. The usual satisfaction of finishing a workday is there, but it's tinged with something new, an underlying tension that's been simmering ever since yesterday. The idea that something more could be hidden in the ordinary books surrounding you keeps tugging at the edges of your thoughts. You've been catching yourself gazing around the library all day, scanning the shelves, the quiet corners, even the patrons as they browse. It's strange because you're not sure what you're expecting to find. There's no clear sign, no glowing aura like the book in your apartment had, yet you can't shake the feeling that something might reveal itself if you just look a little closer. The clock ticks past the end of your shift, and you start to gather your things, your mind already drifting to the weekend ahead. You're glad it's Friday, you'll have 2 days to yourself, 2 days to process everything that's happened, and maybe even explore this new power of yours without the constraints of daily routine. As you head for the exit, you take one last look around the library. It's quiet now, with only a few patrons left, and the soft lighting gives the space a peaceful glow. But that curious feeling lingers, as if the air is charged with possibilities that you can't quite see. Stepping outside, you take a deep breath of the cool evening air. The city hums with its usual energy, people rushing by on their way home, cars honking in the distance. Yet, even out here, that strange sense of watching for something unknown, remains with you. As you walk home, your mind races with thoughts of what the weekend might bring. Perhaps you'll return to the threshold, or maybe you'll uncover more secrets hidden in plain sight. One thing is certain, the world doesn't feel quite as ordinary as it once did. As you approach your apartment door, the strange feeling that's been following you all day sharpens into a clearer sensation. It's not just curiosity or anticipation anymore, it's the unsettling awareness of being watched. The hairs on the back of your neck prick up, and you can't shake the sense that someone, or something, has its eyes on you. You pause for a moment, your key halfway to the lock, and glance around. The hallway is empty, just as it always is when you come home. The familiar walls, the muted lighting, everything seems normal. But the feeling remains, gnawing at the edges of your mind. You can't see anyone, but that doesn't change the uneasy certainty that someone is observing you. You quickly unlock the door and step inside, shutting it behind you with a firm click. The comforting silence of your apartment wraps around you, but the sense of being watched doesn't fade. You glance toward the windows, checking the locks and drawing the blinds. The room feels secure, but the tension in your chest lingers. Your cat greets you with a soft meow, rubbing against your leg as if sensing your unease. Her presence is reassuring, grounding you in the familiar routine of home, but even she seems more alert, her eyes scanning the room as if she, too, is aware of something you can't see. You drop your bag by the door and take a slow, deep breath, trying to calm your racing thoughts. Was this feeling connected to the threshold? Could someone, or something, from that world be watching you now? The possibility sends a shiver down your spine. You hadn't considered the idea that your brief journey into the threshold might leave you open to attention from beings you couldn't yet comprehend. You move deeper into your apartment, checking each room, trying to convince yourself it's just paranoia. Everything seems normal, no signs of anyone or anything unusual. But as you settle onto the couch, your eyes inevitably drift toward the book still sitting on your bedside table, its presence a quiet reminder of what you've touched and what might be touching back. You sit on the edge of your couch, your thoughts spinning as Ash's words echo in your mind. There are others, both in our world and in the threshold, who will seek you out. Some will want to use your power for their own purposes, others will see you as a threat. That unsettling sense of being watched suddenly feels more urgent, more real. The threshold isn't just a place you stumbled into, it's a place that's now aware of you, a place that could be reaching out to you even here, in the safety of your apartment. And whoever, or whatever, was watching might not have good intentions. You find yourself pacing the room, trying to piece it all together. Ash had warned you that the threshold was dangerous, that it could consume those who were unprepared. But now you're realizing it's not just about being consumed, it's about being hunted. You wonder if that feeling of eyes on you is one of those beings Ash warned about. Something from the threshold, crossing into this world, watching you, waiting. Your cat follows you as you move around the apartment, her eyes flicking to the shadows as if she senses the tension, too. The familiar comfort of home feels fragile, like a thin barrier between you and the unknown. You think back to everything Ash said, about controlling the bridge, about staying grounded in who you are. But now, you wonder if that's enough. If something from the threshold has crossed over, how do you protect yourself? How do you keep them out? You look at the book on the bedside table, feeling its quiet pull. It's your link to the threshold, your guide, but also a potential doorway for whatever might be trying to reach you. You don't know if you should draw on its power or hide it away. The night ahead suddenly feels long and uncertain. Ash had promised to help, to guide you, but they're not here now. You're on your own, at least for tonight. The restlessness inside you grows unbearable. Every instinct screams that staying inside, alone with your thoughts, won't provide the answers or comfort you need. You grab your keys and make your way to the door, determined to find Ash, to get the guidance and reassurance that only they can provide. But as you pull the door open, your breath catches in your throat. Ash is already there, standing silently just outside your door, as if he knew you'd be coming out. His presence is calm, yet there's an intensity in his eyes that tells you something's changed. Before you can utter a word, he lifts a hand, a gesture of quiet urgency, motioning for you to remain silent. You freeze, your heart pounding. His expression is serious, far more focused than you've seen before. You can see the tension in his posture, the way his eyes scan the hallway behind you, as if searching for something, or someone. The sense of being watched returns with full force, pressing in on you from all sides. Ash steps closer, still silent, his eyes locking with yours. The weight of the moment is clear, whatever is happening, it's not safe to speak here. You feel the energy around you shift, the familiar world of your apartment building suddenly feeling more fragile, more permeable, as if the thin veil between your reality and the threshold could be torn away at any moment. Ash nods toward the interior of your apartment, urging you back inside with a quiet but firm presence. You step aside, allowing him to enter, your pulse racing as you close the door behind you. The silence between you is heavy, charged with unspoken questions and the urgent need for answers. Once inside, Ash turns to you, his voice barely above a whisper. "They're close," he says, the warning clear in his tone. "I could feel them watching you, even before I arrived. We don't have much time. You need to stay calm and listen carefully." The weight of his words presses down on you, the reality of the situation sinking in deeper. The beings he warned you about, they're not just a distant threat anymore. They're here, right on the edge of your world, and they're coming for you. Ash glances around the room, his sharp eyes assessing every corner, every shadow. "We need to prepare," he says, his voice steady but urgent. "You're stronger than you know, but you'll need all of that strength now. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle over you like a heavy cloak. The uncertainty and fear swirl inside you, but underneath it all, you find a thread of resolve. You don't know Ash well, but they've been honest with you from the start, guiding you when you were lost and warning you when danger was near. Right now, that has to be enough. You make the decision to trust them, fully and without hesitation. Standing tall, you meet Ash's intense gaze and ask, your voice steady despite the fear in your chest, what needs to be done? Ash seems to relax slightly at your words, sensing the shift in your determination. They nod, appreciating your resolve. First, we need to strengthen the barriers between this world and the threshold. Right now, the connection is too open, too vulnerable. That's why they're able to reach you so easily. We'll need to close those gaps. They move toward the book, still sitting quietly on your bedside table. The book is a focal point, Ash explains. It's a powerful tool, but it also serves as a beacon to those in the threshold. We'll need to use its energy to reinforce the boundary, without letting it draw anything through. Ash turns back to you, their expression serious. I'll guide you through the process, but you'll need to be the one to channel the energy. You've already connected to the threshold before, so you know how to draw on that power. But this time, instead of opening the bridge, you'll focus on closing it, sealing the connection, and making sure it stays that way. You nod, the tension in your body giving way to a focused determination. The sense of being watched still lingers, but now you feel more in control. You move to the table, standing before the book, and wait for Ash's instructions. Place your hands on the book, Ash says, stepping beside you. Close your eyes and find that anchor within yourself, the one you connected with yesterday. Feel your power, let it rise, but don't let it out. Instead, focus on pulling the energy inward, like drawing a protective circle around you. You do as they say, closing your eyes and resting your hands on the book's cool cover. You focus on your breath, letting the tension in your body release as you search for that inner strength. The energy begins to hum under your skin, familiar but intense, and you concentrate on pulling it closer, wrapping it around you like a shield. Good, Ash murmurs. Now, visualize the connection between you and the threshold, the bridge. See it in your mind, and imagine yourself closing it, shutting it off from this world. Seal it tight, like locking a door with a key only you possess. The image forms in your mind, clear and strong. You picture the bridge, glowing with otherworldly light, and then you begin to draw it closed. The energy around you intensifies, but you hold firm, pulling the connection tight until it's sealed, the light dimming, the connection severed. As you focus, you feel the presence that's been watching you begin to fade. The room seems to settle, the tension in the air easing as the barrier strengthens. You can feel the threshold receding, no longer pressing so close. Finally, you open your eyes, your breath coming in slow, controlled waves. The book lies still beneath your hands, its energy quieted. The sense of being watched is gone. Ash watches you closely, then nods with approval. You did it, they say quietly. For now, the connection is sealed. They won't be able to reach you, not easily, at least. Relief floods through you, but there's still a lingering awareness of the dangers that lie just beyond the barrier you've reinforced. This isn't over, but for now, you've bought yourself time. With the immediate threat at bay, you turn to Ash, your resolve firm. If you're going to survive whatever comes next, you need to know more. You need answers. Who, exactly, are they that you keep referring to? You ask, your voice steady but insistent. The question has been lingering in the back of your mind since this all began, and now, with a moment of relative calm, you need clarity. Ash hesitates for a brief moment, as if weighing how much to reveal. Then they sigh and begin to explain, their voice low and serious. They are the beings that dwell within the threshold. The threshold is vast, and it's home to many different forces, some ancient, some new, each with its own desires, its own motivations. The ones you need to be concerned about most are the ones who seek out individuals like you, those with a connection to both worlds, because of the energy you possess. You frown, sensing the weight of Ash's words. These beings. They can manipulate and feed off that energy. They'll try to lure you back into the threshold, using whatever means they can, illusions, promises, even threats. If they can't control you, they'll try to consume you, absorbing your power until there's nothing left. A chill runs down your spine as Ash's explanation sinks in. The feeling of being watched, the sense that something is always lurking just beyond your sight, it all makes more sense now. These forces aren't passive observers, they're active threats. Is that what happened to your sister? You ask, recalling the painful story Ash had shared before. Did they take her? Ash nods, their eyes shadowed with old grief. Yes. They twisted her mind, made her believe she could control the threshold, that she could wield its power without consequence. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. She was too deep, and they had her. They pause, their voice thick with emotion. That's why I'm helping you. I couldn't save her, but maybe I can stop it from happening to you. The weight of Ash's past hangs in the air between you, making their warnings feel all the more urgent. You realize that your connection to the threshold is more dangerous than you initially thought, and the forces at play are a threat you can't afford to underestimate. What can I do to protect myself? You ask, your determination growing stronger. How do I fight them? Ash looks at you with a mix of caution and respect. First, you need to maintain control over your connection to the threshold, just like you did tonight. Never let them draw you in when you're unprepared. Second, you need to understand your own power, what you can do with it, and how to strengthen it without becoming vulnerable to their influence. They pause, then add, but most importantly, you need to stay grounded in this world. The more you keep one foot here, in reality, the harder it will be for them to pull you fully into the threshold. That's where your true strength lies. You nod, taking in Ash's advice. It's a lot to process, but knowing what you're up against gives you a clearer path forward. The forces lurking in the threshold are dangerous, but with Ash's help, you're beginning to see that you have the potential to resist them, to protect yourself from their grasp. In the dimly lit room, you stand beside Ash, the tension thick in the air as the weight of the conversation sinks in. The book on the table remains closed, yet its presence is still palpable, a reminder of the dangerous world it connects to. Ash's serious expression reflects the gravity of the situation, and you feel the urgency of the moment, knowing that the choices you make now will shape your path forward. You stand there in the dim light, your mind racing as you weigh everything you've learned, the dangers of the threshold, the power you've begun to tap into, and the looming threat from the forces beyond. It would be easy to turn inward, to focus on protecting yourself and avoiding the risks. But as you think about Ash's story, about the pain of losing his sister to the very dangers you now face, a different resolve begins to form within you. You look at Ash, who has been guiding you through this strange new reality, and the decision crystallizes in your mind. You're not just going to survive this, you're going to use this power to help, to make a difference. And the first step is clear. Let's find your sister, you say, your voice steady and full of purpose. Ash freezes, his usually composed expression breaking into a mix of emotions, alarm, pain, and a flicker of hope that he seems almost afraid to acknowledge. For a moment, he just stares at you, as if trying to process what you've just said. His eyes search yours, looking for any sign of hesitation, but he finds none. You don't know what you're asking, Ash says quietly, his voice tinged with disbelief. It's been so long. The threshold has her. And the forces that dwell within it. I know there are risks, you interrupt, your tone firm but gentle. But you've helped me, and I want to help you. You've told me that the threshold is dangerous, but it's also where we find answers, where we can make a difference. If your sister is still out there, then I want to try. We can do this together. Ash looks away, struggling with his emotions. He's silent for a long moment, the weight of your offer heavy between you. When he finally speaks, his voice is thick with a mixture of fear and cautious hope. I've searched for her for years, but I was always alone. I never allowed myself to believe that I could find her, not after everything that's happened. He looks back at you, his expression more vulnerable than you've ever seen. But if you're willing to help, if you really want to do this, then maybe there's a chance. Maybe we can bring her back. You nod, your resolve unshaken. We'll do this together. But I'll need you to teach me everything you know. I have the potential, but I still have a lot to learn. Ash takes a deep breath, then nods, determination settling into his features. All right, he says quietly, his voice stronger now. We'll need to prepare, gather our strength, our knowledge. The threshold won't make this easy, and the forces there will try to stop us. But if you're truly ready for this, then we'll find her. We'll bring her back. The room feels charged with a new energy, a sense of purpose, of a journey about to begin. The path ahead is uncertain, filled with dangers you can barely comprehend, but you're ready to face it. With Ash by your side, you know that this is just the beginning of something far greater than either of you could have imagined. As you see the flicker of hope in Ash's eyes, a small smile of relief crosses your face. It's comforting to know that he's not pushing back against your decision, that he's willing to let you stand by his side in this daunting task. But as the gravity of the situation sets in, your smile fades, replaced by a firm resolve. There's no turning back now. Where do we start? You ask, your voice steady and determined. Ash meets your gaze, his own resolve solidifying alongside yours. First, we need to strengthen your abilities, he says, the intensity returning to his eyes. If we're going to navigate the threshold and face the dangers there, you need to be ready. You've made progress, but there's still much more to learn. He glances at the book on the table, then back to you. We'll begin by deepening your connection to the threshold, but this time, under controlled conditions. We need to test your limits, see how far you can push your abilities without losing control. You need to be able to sense the presence of those forces before they get too close, and we'll work on protecting your mind from their influence. Ash pauses, considering the next steps carefully. Once you're ready, we'll start searching for traces of Lila in the threshold. The dangers are powerful, but they're not invincible. If she's still there, we can find her, but we have to be careful. They'll try to block us at every turn. You nod, understanding the seriousness of the task ahead. What do I need to do? Ash looks around the room, as if mentally preparing for what's to come. We'll need to find a safe place to train, somewhere quiet, where we won't be disturbed. And we'll need to gather supplies, anything that can help anchor us to this world while we're working in the threshold. He turns back to you, his expression determined. This isn't going to be easy, but if you're committed to finding her, then we'll make it happen. We start with preparing you, and then we go deeper. Your heart pounds with a mix of fear and anticipation, but you know this is the right path. Together, you and Ash will face the challenges ahead, no matter how difficult they may be. With a firm plan in place, you and Ash begin moving around your apartment, gathering what you might need for the journey ahead. The reality of what you're about to do, delving deeper into the threshold and searching for Ash's lost sister, sinks in with each item you pack. Ash moves with quiet efficiency, checking the room for anything that might help ground you in this world while you navigate the other. You grab a sturdy bag and begin filling it with essentials, a flashlight, a few changes of clothes, your phone and charger, some snacks, and water. It feels strange, almost surreal, to be packing for something so dangerous, yet you do it with a calmness that surprises even you. As you move through your apartment, your eyes land on your cat, who's been watching you closely from her perch on the windowsill. The thought of leaving her behind, alone in this apartment while you venture into the unknown, tugs at your heart. She's been your constant companion, a source of comfort in your quiet life. But taking her with you, into a world as unpredictable and dangerous as the threshold, feels like a huge risk. You pause, weighing the options. Leaving her here would keep her safe from the dangers you're about to face, but it would also mean trusting that you'll return, that you'll make it back to her. Taking her with you would mean exposing her to risks she can't understand, but it would also mean she'd be with you, a reminder of home and of the life you're fighting to protect. Ash notices your hesitation and steps beside you. It's your decision, he says softly, understanding the weight of the choice. But whatever you choose, make sure it's what you can live with. After a long moment, you kneel down and scoop your cat into your arms. She purrs softly, nuzzling into your chest, and you know what your choice has to be. She's been with you through so much, and you can't bear the thought of leaving her behind. She comes with us, you say firmly, and Ash nods, accepting your decision without question. With your supplies packed and your cat safely tucked into a small carrier, you take one last look around your apartment. This place has been your refuge, your sanctuary from the world. But now, it feels different, smaller, less like home. You know that whatever happens next, you're leaving behind the life you've known. The person you were before this journey began is already slipping away, replaced by someone stronger, more determined, and ready to face the unknown. You take a deep breath and close the door behind you, whispering a quiet goodbye to the life you've known. And with that, you and Ash step out into the night, the journey ahead uncertain but filled with purpose. Together, you'll find his sister, face the dangers of the threshold, and discover just how far you're willing to go to protect the ones you care about. Chapter 2 of The Threshold has come to an end, but the journey is far from over. You've sealed the connection, but the threats lurking beyond remain. With Ash as your guide, you've begun to unlock the mysteries of the threshold and your own hidden potential. But as you prepare for what lies ahead, new challenges emerge, and the line between creation and destruction begins to blur. In Chapter 3, Testing the Limits, you will be pushed further than ever before. Will you master the power within, or will the threshold consume you? Don't miss the next chapter. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share with those who would love to step into the adventure. You won't want to miss what happens next.